do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Well, I ended up adding this since our show started here, Rohit, but his points prop tonight at 20.5 is the same number from the Iowa State game. That's a bit of a mistake, right? When we consider the gap in opponents here. I think Peterson specifically steps up. He needs to. I think he kind of owes this team a great performance.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today. Only on Sports.
Tuesday edition of the Early Line. Rise and grind with us because we are ready to go. It's your boy DRS along with Joe Ranieri, and away we go over the next hour and a half for the Early Line, and then a half hour as we dip into those predictive markets just the way you like it. I'm ready for the show. We're going to heat it up. And by the way, tomorrow, did you know, the World Baseball Classic starts? And yes, March 25th, Major League Baseball season starts. In the midst of conference tournaments currently underway, where the big boys will be underway next week. And then we have Selection Sunday. And let me remind you people, this Sunday, daylight saving, which means that you are going to get more sunlight in your life, more time for the Early Line, Joe Ranieri. Let's get after it today.
Yeah, so you're saying we got a few things coming up here this week, Donnie. Yeah, just a handful of things. Welcome to the month of March because madness is upon us, Donnie, and I'm all for it, my man.
SEC won by Florida. The ACC won by the Duke Blue Devils. Arizona clinching the Big 12. That's how you know you are getting close to March Madness. But more importantly, here on a Tuesday, time to rise, time to shine, time to get caffeinated. Joe, bring us that hot topic right now.
All right, Donnie. So speaking of madness, we have officially reached the point of maximum absurdity in college sports. And that is saying something here, if we're being honest, because we just learned about the latest recruiting gimmick being pushed in the SEC footprint. And it's called the no income tax trick, Donnie. You see, states like Mississippi and Arkansas are actually passing bills to waive state income taxes on NIL and revenue share payments for college athletes. Why? Well, because they're terrified of losing five-star recruits to Texas, Tennessee, Florida. Why? Well, there's no state income tax in those places. And look, I got to ask, what in the world are we think is going to happen here exactly? Because if we're being completely honest here, Donnie, back in the day, when it came to getting cash payments, right, this VIP treatment, where was it, Donnie? We didn't get this back in the day. We got a fake valet job where we'd pull up to a restaurant, you'd get the keys tossed to you, there'd be an envelope in the back seat, and that was it. That was your tax-free bonus. Now, these kids are signing legal 6- and 7-figure contracts, and the state legislator is rolling out the red carpet to make sure they don't have to pay a dime to the state. And look, I'm all for keeping the governments out of our wallets. I would love to see income taxes eliminated across the board. But how in the world do these politicians justify this to their actual constituents? You're going to look a teacher, a police officer, or a first responder making $50,000 to $60,000 a year in the eye and tell them that they have to be taxed to the max, but the 19-year-old wide receiver making $1 million gets a free pass? It's completely tone deaf. And the irony is that the money funding these NIL deals and these athletic departments, where do you think that comes from? It comes straight from the working class fans. They're the ones buying the tickets, the overpriced hot dogs, and of course that ugly merch that they've got going on there. And the politicians, let's face it, they're just pandering to them, hoping the fans are blind enough to ignore this tax disparity as long as the local team lands a 5-star left tackle. It's the stupidest thing I have heard yet in a long line of stupidity in college athletics, Donnie. Either eliminate the income tax for everybody in the state or nobody. It's not that difficult. So once again, Donnie, on this Tuesday, I'll be looking for an attorney to help us get another year or two of eligibility back in college athletics.
It's such a good topic you bring up, but don't you know, Joe, in just a few short weeks, if there's any pushback, they'll have a study that goes, oh, look at the economic impact of Ole Miss here on the community. That's why they deserve these tax breaks, just like you need a new stadium and just like when the Super Bowl comes to town. And also understand this, what Joe is pointing out. Congress also is of the ilk of, oh, when we get in, we can vote ourselves into a pay raise that nobody else can say anything about. What a life that you live in. Certainly circumventing the system for personal gain. It's exactly what they do, which includes they're probably going to get kickbacks from those state kickbacks that the players actually get. It's exactly what's going to happen at this point, but a great topic to start off our Tuesday, Joe. Let's get into the early lineup, which sees Jason Tatum expected to be back Friday against Dallas. I look at that team for the Boston Celtics. They don't need Jaylen Brown or Jason Tatum to blow bad basketball teams off the court, but Tatum coming back sooner than later, ramping up, Joe, for a playoff run.
Yeah, why not? I mean, listen, we had always said, Donnie, that his availability was going to really depend on how close and how good they were right around this time of year, right? Did they have a shot at making a serious run here? And as it turns out, yeah, the Celtics have been really, really good. And Jason Tatum is only, if he's healthy, going to make them that much better.
It's trade season, it's tag season, it's almost free agent season in the NFL, and David Montgomery is on the move here. You saw the writing on the wall. He's a quality back, but Jahmyr Gibbs is that superstar. He wants more carries, and the Houston Texans have a need for a running back since Joe Mixon is on a milk carton at this point right now. David Montgomery to the Texans for a 5th-round pick. I think that's a pretty good move for the Texans to get that veteran back they've been waiting for.
I love it for the Texans. And, you know, he, I think, fits in pretty well there. And listen, you've got a stud running back in Detroit. You could afford to let, Montgomery go, and that's exactly what they did. Could be a win-win for both here, Donnie. That's what it's all about.
It was a great luxury they had, but certainly when you play second fiddle, when you figure you should be getting the bulk share of the carries here, you're going to be on the move. I think it works out for both of these teams and lets Jahmyr Gibbs shine there in Detroit. The Cleveland Browns, they put shovels in the dirt, Joe. They're getting ready for the new indoor stadium in Cleveland that should be completed in just a few years.
Yeah, maybe they'll win a game there, Donnie. What do you think? Because they certainly didn't win a whole lot of games recently here in the old stadium. So maybe that's what it is. Change the scenery, put a roof over it, and maybe you can get a couple of wins here, although I have my doubts.
I mean, there was always a charm to Cleveland, right? Back at Old Municipal Stadium there, just an ugly field, a mistake by the lake. Then they used that same, area, basically rebuild that same stadium. Now they don't like it here. And by the way, when did it become vogue to every 20-plus years you get a new stadium here and the taxpayers have to foot that bill? It's kind of crazy here. The ADP World Tour, multiple players, Joe, still stuck in the Middle East with what's going on there.
Yeah, no, there's all sorts of issues. That F1, there's it's kind of hard to get some flights out and to move about there. So hopefully things get straightened out sooner rather than later there, Donnie, for all involved.
The PGA Tour, Joe, is this the Brooks Koepka effect here is coming back? So now the expanded media deal with NBC goes through 2033. Are we expecting more defections from Live Golf to bolster up the PGA Tour here?
Well, I mean, let's face it. DeChambeau's contract's coming up. John Rahm's contract's coming up. So, yeah, I think they're anticipating that the big guns will be back on the PGA Tour sooner rather than later. And why not lock in that media rights deal now?
How about Trae Young? He was on the bench last night and got ejected, but he's actually expected to play on Thursday versus the Jazz. The only thing I can think of is they basically told you they didn't want him to play because they want to tank the rest of the season. But stern notes from the NBA saying, you want millions of dollars of fines coming your way? That kid's got to play. Trae Young on his way back. How about that?
Think about it. The biggest contribution Trae Young has given the Washington Wizards is getting thrown out of a game that he didn't play in, but came off the bench because there was some sort of kerfuffle going on there in the third quarter. So they threw him out. And somehow or another, we're all supposed to applaud Trae Young and his effort there. So listen, I hope he goes out and he drops 50 in the opening night, but I have my doubts.
By the way, you want to go out and swing Callaway out there? You want some Cleveland clubs? How about this? Hey, what sticks he hitting today? I'm hitting those McLaren bad boys here. Ooh, McLaren gets into the golf game here, Joe. What are we anticipating here?
Listen, folks, before you save the money, all right, let me help you out here, okay? It ain't the bow, folks. It's the Indian, okay? I'm just telling you right now. You can have all the fancy clubs you want. You still shanking it hard right off the tee. So don't go spend a lot of money on McLaren clubs. That's for sure.
By the way, back in the day when Nike got into the game, Phil Mickelson says, you know how good Tiger Woods is? He's still really good hitting Nike clubs. And oh boy, did that set the war off back in the day. We'll be right back. It's the early line.
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Michigan at a 57% chance right now, followed by Arizona, Duke, and Houston. Here's the interesting caveat, Joe, for Michigan, who's the favorite right now. On February the 8th at 5 a.m., they were trading at 40%. Today, 57%. People like themselves some Michigan here.
Well, Donnie, exactly, because Michigan, it just vaulted themselves to number one in the AP poll.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Top Spreadlines here on a Tuesday. Absolutely. We need to tell you which games you need to be paying attention to. It's Donnie right side. It's Joe Ranieri. It's in the morning right here on the SportsGrid Network. Joe, let's head down to the SEC. Now, you might find yourself saying, well, what are we talking about the SEC for? It's already been decided. It's the Florida Gators seeding people and making the tournament now piles up before we get the conference tournament week in the SEC, which will start next week. Let's head down to Georgia. Alabama on the road to take on Georgia. What a football game that would be. But also, Joe, what a college basketball game tonight. Why? 1.5 is the number on this game for Alabama as a road favorite at Georgia. And the things that we love to see, Joe, this is not a misprint. You see that total? 179.5. We just talked about McLaren here, racing up and down the court. We're going to get some McLaren action in Georgia tonight, Joe. What's that spread line?
Well, this is all about the spot, right? Because you just had Bama on. This is a quick turnaround. They had that ridiculous comeback at Tennessee. And don't forget, I think they got the Iron Bowl 2 is on deck for them to close out the regular season. Georgia, kind of on that bubble, needs a win at home. This will be their last big shot to get one more quad one win in there. But it's not a great matchup for Georgia. That's the problem. They're very undersized in the backcourt there. Alabama doesn't have that issue. So if you're backing Georgia, you're just hoping that, Alabama, maybe some tired legs, looking forward to beating the snot out of Auburn again. But I can't imagine sweating out an under in this game. It's 179 for a reason, Donnie. There will not be a ton of defense being played in this game.
Yep, we always talk about spots and where they matter here. And in the ACC, Joe, the Duke Blue Devils are the regular season champions here. But before we get there, Clemson is going to take on North Carolina. The reason I brought up that look-ahead game, North Carolina is favored by 3.5 at home against Clemson. As we know, at the end of every regular season in the ACC, it is going to be Duke and it's going to be North Carolina. So looking at this total of 142.5, Clemson comes to town, Joe. Is North Carolina looking ahead? And also, can they handle their business tonight? What's that spread line?
Well, that's the whole thing, right? It's a look ahead. Now, the good news, though, for North Carolina is Clemson, I think, locked themselves into the field by beating Louisville on Saturday, Donnie. That was a great win for them. They kind of stopped the bleeding there. They are a good team, right? But they've also beaten UNC twice in a row now. Even though they're a lower scoring team, they like to slow it down, muck it up. And you know what, Hubert wants to do there at North Carolina. He wants to speed everything up. He's got no problem in higher scoring games. I think this is all about if Clemson slows it down enough and keeps this as a rock fight, they got a pretty good chance of not only covering this number, but possibly winning it outright. But something tells me after that win against Louisville, they might be exhaling here. I think North Carolina's got the edge tonight.
Back to the SEC tonight. Kentucky on the road to take on Texas A&M. Overnight, this line sat at 1.5. Most outlets still sitting at 1.5, but we are starting to see, Joe, some 2.5s in the marketplace. The total of this game sits at 158.5. Kentucky, Texas A&M. What's your spread line?
Well, A&M been very difficult at home. Don't forget to start the first couple of months of the season, A&M and Bucky McMillan, my goodness, Bucky ball. They were beating teams they shouldn't have beat. Everyone thought everything was going to be, oh my good, could they be the dark? No. Meanwhile, Kentucky is locked in. And currently right now with these two teams, the way they are rated, Donnie, this would be a 6 versus an 11 seed right now in the tournament. We know Kentucky's already locked in, and likelihood Texas A&M is already locked in. So, but the problem is trusting Kentucky on the road. Let me tell you something. The last 10 SEC road games under Coach Pope here for UK have all been decided by single digits. They've all been a sweat job. I would not be shocked if A&M wins this game.
Let's head over to the MAC, and the reason we're doing that is a team still looking to stay unbeaten at this point right now. Toledo comes to town to take on Miami of Ohio. This line opened up overnight, Joe, minus 7.5. Now most outlets sitting at 8.5 and a total of 162.5. This place is going to be packed. This place is going to be raucous because this is the last home game for Miami of Ohio in the regular season. 2 games left on the slate to have an unbeaten regular season. Toledo heads to Miami of Ohio. The question, Joe, maybe Miami of Ohio with a victory, but more importantly, what's that spread line for these two?
Well, listen, Donnie, the first go around here, Miami of Ohio led by as many as 28 on the road. So Toledo is not a great matchup, right? Miami of Ohio, just not a great matchup for Toledo. So that's why you're still seeing the spread where it's at. Wouldn't shock me. Once again, though, we've seen it the last couple of weeks, that money coming in, fading Miami of Ohio. And yet all they keep doing is winning games and winning them easily. It's the next game against Ohio. Ohio has given the Red Hawks more of an issue than anything Toledo has brought to the table here. So I think they get past Toledo at home rather easily. And then it's up to Ohio, the Bobcats, to be able to ruin the perfect season. But I doubt very much they're going to be doing that either.
Yeah, Miami of Ohio's offense here coming in as the second most efficient team in conference play. Effective field goal percentage, #1, according to Ken Pom. They don't turn the basketball over. But how about this? Like Toledo, #1 in conference play, Joe, at not turning the basketball over, giving them a chance. And also, we've seen multiple times this year, Miami's got that heart of a champion, man. Things aren't going so well, and they're still supposed to beat this team. They pulled it out every single time. 2 more games left on the docket here to go undefeated in the regular season. And again, as we talked about, raucous crowd tonight, Miami of Ohio. Crazy crowd probably expected in Athens when they go to Ohio to play them to close out the regular season, and we'll see what happens. Let's flip it over, Joe, to the association tonight. The Detroit Pistons on the road to take on the Cleveland Cavaliers. Overnight, this line sat at -1.5. Today, Joe, we're seeing -2s and -2.5s in the marketplace in a total of 226.5. These two teams are probably going to clash in the playoffs, but tonight, the 7 o'clock start in Cleveland. What is that spread line for you?
Well, I mean, this could be what many people think will be an Eastern Conference final matchup, right? Here, Donnie, we could see this in the future with Detroit and the Cavs. But Detroit does get some reinforcements back tonight. Isaiah Stewart back from suspension for this game here tonight. There's some injury bugs concerning me with the Cavs in this spot here. Wouldn't be shocked if Detroit wins this one on the road and maybe pushes them around a little bit.
10 games on the card tonight in the association, Joe. One of the fun games tonight is the San Antonio Spurs are going to take on the Philadelphia 76ers. No Embiid, but a throwback broadcast tonight. You want to tell me you love the 1990s? Watch that game tonight. You'll get a 1990s feel, and we'll be right back here on the early line.
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Michigan at a 57% chance right now, followed by Arizona, Duke, and Houston. Here's the interesting caveat, Joe, for Michigan, who's the favorite right now. On February the 8th at 5 a.m., they were trading at 40%. Today, 57%. People like themselves some Michigan here.
Well, Donnie, exactly, because Michigan, it just vaulted themselves to #1 in the AP poll.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Playing a little college basketball here. More importantly, coaching a little bit of college basketball. Did you ever wonder, Joe, what it would be like to be coaching under Rick Pitino? Well, here's Kevin Willard talking about that, what he went through. How about this?
You said that you worked for him for 10 years and you can imagine what his practices were like. In your experience, after a big loss, what is Rick like at practices from?
I'm not bullshitting you. I don't have hair because I had a full set of hair when I started work training. Like it's the most miserable experience in life. Like you fear for your life every day, and everyone laughs when I say that, but you think you're going to get fired, and it's miserable. As he's gotten older, he's probably become more of a cranky old bitch than he was when I get like you literally fear for your life. Like you walk in, he walks into the facility, he's walking in at 6:30, and you've been there since 5:30 thinking that you have everything right, and he comes and he asks you the one question that you don't know, and it's like he's that intense. He always has, but he's got the most energy of any coach I've ever been around. I think that's why he's got 900 wins and national championships, because he does it better and more intense than anybody. And I think he has the perfect player. And Zuby and him really match so well together. I think that's why they've been so successful.
Under pressure, Joe, every time you step in the gymnasium, if you want to be a coach under Pitino, he'll mold you and you'll make millions of dollars.
Yeah, well, it looks like he still owns you there. He would have fired you after that performance by Villanova. I mean, my goodness there. But listen, that's what separates the truly greats and the legendary guys from everyone else, right? I mean, the fact that he knew what question to ask you that you didn't know the answer to, it tells you everything you need to know about what Pitino is and what kind of coach he has been over the years.
Here's the answer we need to know, too. Rutgers, and look, I live in the state of New Jersey. We hear all the, look how much money they spend on athletics to get no return, and they're correct upon that. Football team stinks, basketball team back stinking, the women's basketball team stinks, and they hemorrhage money. Breaking news, Rutgers has fired its women's basketball coach, Coquess, I guess, Washington, 42-84. And by the way, let me tell you this, Rutgers. I know you thought it was like a money grab to get into the Big Ten. Maybe the worst decision you could possibly have had. You just can't compete at any level in any sport, it feels like, in that conference here. Maybe it's time to look to another conference here. My goodness.
What was the record, did you say?
42-84. Grinding.
Okay.
We're grinding.
Right, so,
come on.
How did it take this long to fire her? How can you be that terrible at your job and still make it to that many games here? At what point were they like, it's just bad, like it'll turn around? No, it won't turn around. It never turns around. If you're that bad for a reason. So I imagine being that bad at your job, Donnie, but still being able to keep it. Unbelievable.
Maybe Rutgers is now like the Bengals, like, well, this person's terrible at their job. And they go, well, if we fire this person, means we got to fire the 6 coaches behind her. That's going to cost us an extra $1.7 million. Leave her on next year again. It's no big deal. We'll lose, but at least we don't have to pay anything out. That's probably why. The final women's AP poll of the regular season is in, Joe. It's no surprise. UConn is number 1. By the way, UCLA, new to the Big Ten out there. How about that? Number 2 now in the nation as they rolled through their conference this year, followed by South Carolina, Texas, Vandy, and there they go, LSU at 6.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it's Gino's game and his world, and we're all just kind of living in it here, Donnie. So what a unbelievable run it will be, worth watching. I mean, you think Miami of Ohio is a fun story of running the table and going undefeated in a regular season. Yeah, this is going to be an awful lot of fun watching it to play out as well.
But I'll tell you, like, it's amazing what UConn has built, men's and women's here, because we're going to get into the men's AP top 25. Duke number 1, no surprise. Arizona 2, Michigan 3. Awesome teams. You know, sits at number 4 right there. Yeah, it's the UConn Huskies, followed by number 5, the Florida Gators, the champions in the regular season of the SEC.
You know, and it's funny. You ever been to stores, Donnie? Have you been to UConn?
Nope.
Have you? It's like, don't blink. You might miss it. I mean, it's just, it cracks me up that they are that much of a powerhouse in basketball compared to like the University of Florida. But consistency, you get the right coaches, you get the right players, the right recruits, and look at that, Donnie. You can actually be dominant in college basketball, both women's and men's for that matter.
I remember in the 1990s when UConn women's were starting to get so dominant, getting every great player, enrolling everybody, because they said, you want to be a communications major, you come to UConn. Hey, look, the Bristol campus is real close. You can go to ESPN and be an intern. They put the kibosh on that immediately. Now we're talking about millions of dollars. Back then it was like, hey, you can't walk them through ESPN. That's an unfair recruiting tactic here. A lot has changed. We'll be right back.
I know that Florida lost at home to Auburn, and it's a real thing that happened. So you can't strike it from the record. But if you did, I think Florida's looked like the best team in college basketball for about 2 months. And I think there are a bunch of results that suggest that.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Class is in session. Today, let's talk about the teaser. A teaser is a multi-leg bet where you shift the point spread in your favor. You get better numbers, but every selection has to win. It doesn't matter what you bet if you don't have the insights. Tune into SportsGrid and get ahead of the class.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio, only on SportsGrid.
Michigan at a 57% chance right now, followed by Arizona, Duke, and Houston. Here's the interesting caveat, Joe, for Michigan, who's the favorite right now. On February the 8th at 5 a.m., they were trading at 40%. Today, 57%. People like themselves some Michigan here.
Well, Donnie, exactly, because Michigan, it just vaulted themselves to number one in the AP poll.
Prediction Markets Edge, only on SportsGrid.
Major League Baseball, we're ready for it. March 25th, as we said again, is opening day. And away we go into March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, and into November. Yeah, it's a long season. Love Major League Baseball. But before we get there, Joe, we get a nice little appetizer. And it looks like the countries are actually taking it serious this time. When I say serious, Team USA is like, throw a couple pros out there. It'll be okay. Not required to win a championship, but just perform. Not the case now. Feels like the 1992 Dream Team is like, you know what? Dream teams, redeem teams, it's time to put USA Baseball back on the map. But if we look at the power rankings here through the WBC, they put out this tweet here, Joe. Number 1, Japan. Number 2, USA. Number 3, Dominican Republic. How do we feel about these rankings from the WBC?
Defending champs for a reason, right, Donnie? I mean, that's what Japan is here. So, yeah, I actually agree with them there. I mean, they're champions till somebody beats them, Donnie, and they are stacked once again this season for this tournament. So it's going to be interesting. I mean, I know, I think it's going to be great to watch it unfold because you're right. There appears to be that feeling where these teams here are taking this thing, it feels like, a little more seriously than they have in years past.
Yes, and that's the way it should be at this point. You see those rosters, which we'll go over in just a few moments, but it really is a clear 1, 2, 3. Japan, USA, and Dominican Republic, stocked with talent here. Sometimes you look at that USA team, it's like, man, that's really good. Then you look at the Dominican team, like, whoa, this team is going to be a problem. So it should be a lot of fun with some of those upper echelon teams. But before we get there, Joe, you got the exhibitions here starting off, and these start today. Netherlands versus the Orioles, Italy versus the Chicago Cubs, Great Britain and the Milwaukee Brewers today. On March 4th, that will be the Netherlands versus the Rays, Great Britain versus San Diego Padres, and Italy versus the Los Angeles Athletics. Warming up for the WBC. Should be interesting to see how that plays out.
It's going to be very interesting. Yeah, everyone get their feet wet here a little bit, right? I mean, guys have obviously, have been at spring training, have been working out. So these are kind of the nice warm-ups here. But to me, this tournament is all about rotations, Donnie, and the pitching staffs and availability. And that is how you're going to have to handicap this, expecting nobody to go more than 3 innings.
First 4 games here, Joe. And understand this. You have pool play before you get into the knockout rounds and then obviously into the championship game. If I am Team USA, I'm not really throwing my best early because I don't need my best early to win out of pool play. this is where it's going to be interesting to come up. We're going to talk about it in just a moment, but the 4 starters to be rolled out first would be Logan Webb, Tarek Skubal, Paul Skeens, and Nolan McLean. As good as it gets, but as Joe's pointed out also on this show, you are not going to get Logan Webb for 7 2/3 innings pitched. Tarek Skubal going for a complete game and Paul Skeens throwing 95 pitches. That's not going to happen. So these guys are going to be throwing hard and doing damage early, and then the bullpen's going to sort of piecemeal it together because we are not in late months of August where these players are stretched out. They are still in spring training mode, but as 4 aces right there, it looks pretty good for Team USA.
Yeah, and by the way, McLean was not there yesterday for the first, full team workout. He's apparently still under the weather, and he's here in Port St. Lucie. So we'll have to see, though they do have him slated, I believe, March 10th against Italy. But apparently he's not feeling all that well here, so he's going to have to rejoin the team at some point.
Now, let's get into the topic of the day that started coming around because we're excited when superstar players want to play in these, exhibition/off-season tournaments. We like to see it, and we can get a lot of joy in that. You saw the Olympics with the hockey players. They weren't getting paid for the Olympics. They're doing it for the love of the country, and boy, did it turn out to be an awesome run here. And we've seen it with Olympic basketball as well. This is the closest that we're going to get to outside the Olympics, who's going to play, and if they're going to send the Major League Baseball players to the Olympics, who knows? But they're sending them to the WBC. And it is during spring training, Joe, so these guys are still ramping up, and March 25th is going to be opening day. But Tarek Skubal is scheduled to throw 55 pitches against Great Britain, who they should beat 21-1, and also then return back to Detroit. Like, this is like, I understand, like, hey, I'm going to go pitch in that, and here's what you need me to do. But it just seems backwards. Like, I'm the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. Throw me against a chump, and I'm getting right on a plane. Like, you can't say, like, the extra week and a half to ride this out. Or how about if you're just in that dugout going, I know I told you 55 pitches. That felt good. Hey, Skip, man. You need me in the knockout stages here. I'll give you 1 or 2 innings late here. Like, this is so much fun. It just sounds like, hey, yeah, I'll be part of the WBC. I'll throw a couple pitches against a bad team, and I'm out of there. It's not what it's supposed to be. Like, Connor Hellebuck. Hey, I'm going to go out there against, Czechia or Italy. We're going to ground them, and then I'm just going to fly back to Winnipeg and get ready for the second half of the NHL season. It just doesn't seem right, Joe. It just doesn't.
And to me, Donnie, this was all about the PR aspect of it. Because, listen, we're all being honest here. Like, Skubal, you're never getting Skubal for 7-8 innings anyway at any point, or that was never going to happen here. But if he just would have handled it where he said, listen, I'm going to give it a go, and, you could have said all of those things and still disappeared back to Detroit spring training facility, and nobody would have let the chips fall where they may. But instead, the way it was handled kind of left a sour taste in everyone's mouth.
Again, like the point of the optics here is it's not like, hey, Skubal, 55 pitches against Great Britain. Who knows if he's going to start again? Like, okay, we'll see if he does. But I'm going to throw 55 pitches. I'm getting on a plane. I'm out of here. Like, is that a team concept? Like, you're around the boys. Like, you don't want to see this through. And we're not talking about you like, hey, man, I got to stick around for an extra month and a half. I'm going to miss opening day if I stay here. Like, no. You're going to stay in the dugout, cheer on your teammates, and if you do that, being around the boys and how much it means in those high-leverage situations, you're going to tap the Skip on the shoulder like, you know what? I can give you a couple innings if I need you here. But it just sounds hollow. Like, let me throw 55 pitches against a bad baseball team, and then I'm out of here. Yeah, thanks, but no thanks. Anybody could have done that. You could have a fifth starter in Major League Baseball throw against Great Britain and have success here. It just rubs me a little bit the wrong way. We'll see how it plays out, or if he does change his mind. Max Scherzer, he's back, Joe. Blue Jays camp. Innings eater, 2 different color eyeballs, back in Toronto.
Gotta love it, Scherzer. I mean, listen, I give him all the credit in the world. I mean, if he showed us one thing last season, Donnie, right, is that in the biggest spotlight, the biggest games, he's a guy you can still roll out there and trust. He will figure out a way to do it. I mean, the ultimate warrior. And if he's still got enough in the tank, good for him, man. Let's if they make it to the postseason again, you're going to see likely Max Scherzer on the mound there.
I might need some explanations on this, Joe. New style format coming to spring breakout in 2027. So I assume Major League Baseball during spring training is going to have some type of tournament here at this point. Look, if you're going to have a tournament, just make it easy for the people to understand. The NBA Cup is the worst thought-out exhibition/regular season tournament that we don't understand who's playing. It was so bad, Joe, they go, you know what? Nobody knows who's playing. Let's just make the stupidest-looking courts so when you turn the game, like, that's an NBA Cup game at this point, as opposed to just getting people excited. Maybe we can get excited, Joe. Spring training tournaments?
Why? I mean, what is this? Like, are we a little league team? Like, what are we doing here? Everybody knows spring training is exactly that. It is to get everybody ready for what's going to happen during the regular season, right? I mean, that's why you have split squads and those types of things. Like, trying to add a sense of urgency, like, it doesn't work, Donnie, with baseball. It doesn't.
Yeah, it's like spring training. Again, it would be like, hey, oh no, we're gonna have spring breakout. And Scoop was going like, yeah, I'll give you an inning and a third for spring breakout here for this tournament. It's spring training. You're taught to get there in mid-February and ramp up until you get to the Major League Baseball season. Now you're going to tell us, hey, you guys better really perform, put all your starters out there. And I want to see Zach Wheeler throwing 85 pitchers in a spring breakout game to make sure that we put this on for television. We'll see how it plays out and maybe changing something up. But spring training is spring training. Nobody really cares about it. Just show up in the regular season healthy. That's all we care. How about the Tigers? New TV home in 2026. When you hear that, that means all your plans fell through for getting a lot of money, and now you're scrambling, Joe. That's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, well, and I don't know how they didn't see this coming, Donnie. But yes, they listen. Detroit, it's a big market there, Donnie. A lot of television screens and eyeballs to fill scheduling time there over the summer. I don't know what took them so long to get to this point. I really don't.
Illich Sports and Entertainment here. The partnership creates a new platform where fans throughout our home television territory can watch games where they want. Fantastic. But you know what's going to happen too? Somehow, some way, they'll black out half their games and get their own fan base pissed off at them. Just the way it is. Coach Jay Wise joins us next. Michigan at a 57% chance right now, followed by Arizona, Duke, and Houston. Here's the interesting caveat, Joe, for Michigan, who's the favorite right now. On February the 8th at 5 a.m., they were trading at 40%. Today, 57%. People like themselves some Michigan here.
Well, Donnie, exactly, because Michigan, it just vaulted themselves to number one in the AP poll.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
I have my own account. I don't need to have any. He didn't say any of that. So I'm of the belief that if someone accuses you of something and you don't deny it, there's a reason you didn't deny it. Because you kind of feel like they got me. And yes, I'm not going to tell you I did it, but I did it.
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, and you know, with the Clippers, Craig, it feels like Kawhi is on an island. We saw him ball out in the All-Star game the other day. Kawhi was very impressive, and he's had a fantastic season. I think when you look at the Clippers, if the Clippers' record was better, but he's still James Harden, you would be talking about Kawhi as an MVP candidate. He's been one of the best players in the league in terms of how he's been playing. He's been fantastic.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Get after it on a Tuesday and have some fun. Why? Because when we get gas, we like to turn it up, baby. DRS, Joe Ranieri, and Coach, we need you in here. We got Knicks talk. We got WNBA talk. We got hot starts here. We got the tournament about to begin. And by the way, conference tournaments right now just starting out as well. Great time of the year, Coach. How about it?
It's that time of the year as we turn to March. Yeah, conference tournaments where it's do or die for a lot of teams. Some big sneaky games in college basketball. Teams like Seton Hall trying to find their way into the tournament with a big game against Xavier. So really fun time in the basketball world right now.
I do love it when the big boys get on the court there for the conference tournaments and you got those 12 o'clock starts, 1 o'clock starts in the afternoon. The Big East comes to Madison Square Garden. A lot of fun on the way out. But, Coach, let's talk about the dollars in the sense of the WNBA right now. And if you are looking for a silver lining, just having talks and conversations and trading back proposals makes a lot of sense there. We might be salvaging a WNBA season. Might not start on time, but it looks promising. From the Sports Business Journal, the WNBA's latest CBA proposal would allow young stars like wings guard Paige Beckers to earn a maximum salary quicker, and also players on rookie deals here, first and second all-league, could sign max contracts in year number 4. It looks like it's a good sign that talks are going on back and forth, Coach, but how are you looking at this thinking the WNBA season could start on time? Will we be delayed or maybe not have a season at all if it turns out bad?
Listen, guys, a cancellation of the season, what I think would be the ultimate demise of the WNBA, because these ladies will just go back overseas. You've seen Breanna Stewart already signed to go back overseas and overseas soon as an unrivaled season ended. So to me, when you have it, you may have a delay to a start. Now, it's dollars and cents. They got to find a way to make this work. And you're getting to a critical part with now with players like Paige Beckers, obviously with Caitlin Clark, players like Hannah Dogwood, Juju Watkins, Lauren Betts, all these big super AZ Fun coming through the wings in the next couple of years. It's important that, number one, they get a deal done, but two, make sure you take care of the young players so that they don't think they have to go overseas or play in the league at unrivaled. They can play the WNBA. That will be the focus. Smart move by the WNBA, but they need to get a deal done. I don't think it get it done by the March 10th deadline, which means I think the season starts late, but I still think the season still happens.
Coach, I understand you're heading to Atlanta. They have some sort of promotion going
Yes.
on. Is any any truth to that? I'm looking very forward to the Orlando and Atlanta Hawks game here. How about you, Coach?
I just don't know what they're thinking. I mean, this is just, it's just, I mean, listen, if people want to go, Atlanta just, guys, let's be honest. I don't consider Atlanta to be a very strong sports town. The Braves can't sell out in the playoffs. The Falcons, it doesn't matter how much money Arthur Blank pumps into it, it doesn't matter. If a Knicks go play in Atlanta, there's 95% Knicks fan and Hawks fans. So I guess any kind of promotion to kind of drum up interest may help you out a little bit.
Yep.
It's kind of interesting, too. I guess they can't sell out because everybody apparently goes to Magic City instead of the sporting events here at this point. Now, it's a very interesting promotion because, the TI is going to be in town, I heard. Also, the lemon pepper wings will be there. But also, when you go out to the club, is it a good idea, Coach? You're like, you know what, man, let me get the garlic wings in here in this class. That's not, food and let's just say dancing. Do they go together?
The wet naps.
A lot of wet naps. A lot of wet naps that you make sure you have, and some towels to dry off.
Sounds like Coach been there, done that before. Little wings, little fun. Coach, back to the NBA itself on this one. Here's something that we could have saw coming a mile away. Hey, Kristaps Porzingis, when he plays, looks really good. The only question is he never plays. Now Steve Kerr's like, we got a mysterious illness here. It's Porzingis. We hope to get him back, I guess.
I mean, here we go again. Hey, you know what the amazing thing is? As we go through, we talk about like big men, and everybody talks about how much time Anthony Davis misses. No one talks about KP. Like, KP misses a ton of time. He had this mystery illness in the playoffs last year. No one knew what it was, if he was in or he was out. Now he gets traded, and then gets traded again, and now he has it again. It's just a continually bad sign for a Golden State team that, loses at home to the Clippers last night. And you wonder, guys, when you come down to it, are they even going to honestly make the playoffs? When you look at that regular season standings, Golden State's in the 8th slot. There's only one game out of the 9th. So I think the Clippers are going to pass them. And then with that team, without obviously Jimmy Butler, who is obviously out for the year, without Kuminga, who looks fantastic in Atlanta, we don't know what we're going to get out of Steph. We don't know what we're going to get out of Porzingis. I keep saying it. You keep looking at Golden State and saying, where is the end of the dynasty in the run? Guys, I think it's here.
What? I don't understand Golden State, though, Coach, if I can for a second. Kuminga looks like he can very much play. What was the issue? Like, they couldn't figure it out in Golden State. The guy is absolutely dominating here in the games that he's had with Atlanta.
Well, Kuminga's an up-tempo guy, and I think what happened is he got into it with Steve Kerr. I mean, guys, we saw it last year. We saw it last year at the end of the year. The guy wasn't even in the rotation. Then the injuries happened in that first-round series. Then they start playing him. Then he starts scoring. Then he comes back. Then he's starting. Then he's on the bench. Then he's out of the rotation. Then he's playing with it. I mean, no one could figure it out. The best thing for Kuminga, he got out of there. And I'm going to say this right now, folks. Atlanta may not be this year, but this is a team to watch in the future with Dyson Daniels, with Ricochet, with Jalen Johnson, with Okongwu, with Kuminga, and that first-round unprotected pick that they got from New Orleans. What happens if they get, ready, folks, a Darren Peterson, a Kingston Flemings, or what happens if they decide to go and they get the number 1 pick, which is a possibility, and you go pick Dabanza, and then you move Ricochet for something else? I'm telling you right now, they're going to be a team to watch. The only thing is, I'm just not the biggest believer in Quinn Snyder.
Coach, real quick here on the Celtics. They win last night 108-81. No Brown. Giannis comes back. The Doc experiment's probably going to be over. But Tatum's supposed to come back later this week, Coach. Optimism on the Celtics for you?
As long as they have enough time to play him and Brown together. But I say this, Brown has been playing so well, he's got to be the face right now. Let Tatum work his way back. If not, guys, this could blow up in their face because they've been playing well.
Coach James Young joining us, talking a little basketball action at a great time of year. It's March Madness. It's time to hit that buzzer beater, Coach. Let it fly. Splash. Michigan at a 57% chance right now, followed by Arizona, Duke, and Houston. Here's the interesting caveat, Joe, for Michigan, who's the favorite right now. On February the 8th at 5 a.m., they were trading at 40%. Today, 57%. People like themselves some Michigan here.
Well, Donnie, exactly, because Michigan, it just vaulted themselves to number 1 in the AP poll.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
I have my own account. I don't need to have any. He didn't say any of that. So I'm of the belief that if someone accuses you of something and you don't deny it, there's a reason you didn't deny it. Because you kind of feel like they got me. And yes, I'm not going to tell you I did it, but I did it.
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, and with the Clippers, Craig, it feels like Kawhi is on the island. We saw him ball out in the All-Star game the other day. Kawhi was very impressive, and he's had a fantastic season. I think when you look at the Clippers, if the Clippers' record was better, but he's still James Harden, you would be talking about Kawhi as an MVP candidate. He's been one of the best players in the league in terms of how he's been playing. He's been fantastic.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
We're talking a little bit more hockey on the early line. Could it be, coming after this break where we had the Olympics and the gold medal by Team USA? Or could it be the Flyers hot out of the break, winning 3 straight games? Well, maybe more not the latter in the earlier parts of that, because we are excited by the gold medal, but also still making their rounds in the NHL. Teams celebrating their superstars on their home ice. The Buffalo Sabres sent out a tweet. Join us, Joe, And yes, it does say Joe, for the gold medal homecoming on Tuesday here. By the way, Joe, do you know some of these things that they're doing? Pre-game ceremony honoring Tage Thompson. They're giving away rally towels for all fans in attendance, courtesy of KeyBank. USA Gold merchandise. And how about this, Joe? You can't miss this. $7.20 pre-game happy hour in the main Blue Zone bar. There you go. Lower prices on beers, cheering on Team USA's gold. Love to see it.
Yeah, I mean, it's the promotions, Donnie, across the board here in a lot of different spots, different sports, different events. Really kicking it up to another level right now, aren't they? And listen, anything to get people interested, right?
Now, am I missing something here, or I'm not reading into this? Why is it $7.20 pregame? Is that because 72 is Tage Thompson? I just think I figured it out myself.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking that could very well have something to do with it. Yeah, what else would it be, Donnie? That's for sure.
Now, do the fans a solid, Joe. How about 72-cent Labatt's? Like, I mean, really? So we had to go $7.20. Come on.
Have you drank a Labatt? Because that's about all it's worth, Donnie. So you got a point there. It's, yes, you might be overpaying at 72 cents.
Take a look at the game tonight, which is in Buffalo. Vegas is in town, Joe, and the favorites are Buffalo here. Overnight, Joe, we had a minus 118 on the money line. Now we're up to a minus 140 and even minus 140s to 150s in the marketplace, depending where you shop. And goals are anticipated, Joe, as you see that 6.5. Buffalo at home, Tage Thompson night.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty decent price too, right? I mean, they are going scorched earth right now. Loved the effort they gave down here in Florida for that swing. I don't know that I'd be sweating out an under though here tonight. Although the goaltending has been over the top, I still think Vegas is going to be able to get a few here and contribute to what should be a pretty entertaining game, I think, tonight.
People that play winter sports obviously are tough. Hockey players, extremely tough. Olympians, ridiculously tough. Like we saw a downhill skier in Lindsey Vonn ski on an ACL that was completely mangled and torn. Now we find out Hillary Knight, captain for Team USA's women's team, yeah, how about this? Played through the 2026 Olympic Games with a torn MCL. Putting it on the line for your country. Love to see it, ladies.
Yeah, somebody ought to send that to Tariq Skubal there. See what he's got to say about that there. Just saying. My goodness. Well, listen, and that's why gold is hanging around the neck ultimately, is it not, Donnie? That's what it's all about there.
Yeah, what happens if Hillary Knight told Team USA, I'm going to play against Japan in this first game, then I'm going to fly back and play for the Torrent later because and by the way, I'm only going to play on power plays, not penalty kills, not 5-on-5, just on power plays and see how that goes here. How about just on power plays? Those Philadelphia Flyers, Joe, stepped into the Maple Leafs, who, by the way, came out of the break here already not such a great team, losing right out. The Flyers go to a shootout, which included a Matt Michkov goal in that shootout to take a 3-2 victory. The Flyers now, count them, only 4 spots out, or 4 points, I should say, out of a playoff appearance here. Go Flyers.
It's gone from bad to worse in Toronto, right? With these Maple Leafs, my goodness, man, losing to the Flyers. Hey, listen, the good news is you'll be able to get tea time for the Flyers and the Maple Leafs sooner rather than later this year. You don't have to worry about the postseason. You should be out on the golf course soon.
But you know what we're going to do in the offseason, Joe? 4 first-rounders for Vladar in net. Yeah, the guy stands on his head every night just to give the Flyers a chance at winning. And by the way, all teams aren't built. I watch the NHL from time to time with the Flyers. Used to watch them every single night. How can some teams have really good players and the Flyers have like Travis Konechny, and that's all we can get? That's a story for another day at this point. But Florida is going to take on the New Jersey Devils tonight, Joe. That's your boys fighting for a playoff spot. They want to win another Stanley Cup here, Joe. And by the way, at FanDuel, they're a minus 113 favorite on the road to take on the Devils tonight.
Yeah, well, listen, they got to beat somebody at this point, although I have my doubts. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out. They lost to Buffalo. They lost to the Islanders. And, like, can you get one back with the Devils, Panthers? That would be fantastic here. Really appreciate it.
By the way, Joe, like Jack Hughes has to be exhausted from getting standing ovations, and he's probably drunk every day from people just buying him beers and paying his meals off every night. Maybe it runs out tonight for him, Joe. What do you think?
Well, it could very well, but you got to mask the pain somehow, Donnie.
Hour number 2, masking the pain is what we do best on a Tuesday. Come on back with us. Michigan at a 57% chance right now, followed by Arizona, Duke, and Houston. Here's the interesting caveat, Joe, for Michigan, who's the favorite right now. On February the 8th at 5 a.m., they were trading at 40%. Today, 57%. People like themselves some Michigan here.
Well, Donnie, exactly, because Michigan, it just vaulted themselves to number one in the AP poll.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
I have my own account. I don't need to have any. He didn't say any of that. So I'm of the belief that if someone accuses you of something and you don't deny it, there's a reason you didn't deny it. Because you kind of feel like they got me. And yes, I'm not going to tell you I did it, but I did it. Yeah. Don't you think so?
The Craig Carden Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, and with the Clippers, Craig, it feels like Kawhi is on an island. We saw him ball out in the All-Star game the other day. Kawhi was very impressive, and he's had a fantastic season. I think when you look at the Clippers, if the Clippers' record was better, but he's still a James Harden, you would be talking about Kawhi as an MVP candidate. He's been one of the best players in the league in terms of how he's been playing. He's been fantastic.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Hour number 2 is on deck right here for the early line down the right side, along with Joe Ranieri. A lot of fun to be had. And also understand this, halfway through this next hour, prediction markets take center stage, as they will for each day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Just a fun look going over each and every concept that you need to know. Do you like FanDuel? Do you like DraftKings? Well, how about Kalshi and Polymarket? That's our job here, to make sure you are in the know. Now, I'm going to have some fun in this hour here talking about it, because when we sit and when we say to ourselves, Tuesday is a day before we get to Wednesday, which is hump day, and then Thursday and Friday, and also the WBC does start this week. But before we get there, we're talking golf, people. John Rahm makes a lot of money for LIV. Let's see what he's talking about here on his upcoming contract talks.
What your position is now, well, my position hasn't changed in a week. Okay. I don't like what they're doing currently with the contract they're having us sign. I don't like the conditions. They're asking me to play a minimum of 6 events, and they dictate where 2 of those have to be, amongst other things that I don't agree with. If we just go based on that, I've been a dual member my whole career, PGA Tour and DP World Tour. Now, with LIV Golf being accepted in the world rankings as part of the ecosystem, you could almost say 3-tour member, even though I'm suspended from the PGA Tour. But I've always been a dual member. Never once have I been asked for a release to play either one of those tours. We've never submitted a release, right? So why is it now that we need to be offering that and there's all these penalties? Now, while I understand why they're doing it, what's the problem, right? Given also the fact that 2 years ago, I was asked to appeal the fine so they could figure this out and sort it out. And I did, and we're running into more problems right now. I just don't like the situation, right? I think we should be able to freely play where we want and have the choice to play where we want and not be dictated what we do, especially myself, right? I can't speak for others. That'll be myself.
Now, here's where I have questions about this. Like, you just saw John Rahm, and understand this. He's not forced to play LIV Golf. But if I get this correct here, Joe, with the thought process behind this, LIV Golf is paying him hundreds of millions of dollars. And then I just hear they're saying, Well, I have to play 6 times, and you get to pick 2 of those locations, and he has an issue with that. This is just starting his groundswell saying, I see people going back to the PGA Tour. It's a lot more fun on the PGA Tour because the golf is better and you stay stateside as opposed to playing around the world on a tour that just plays loud music and it's not really competitive golf is the feel of it here. But I don't understand the same thing with Brooks Koepka, right? Brooks Koepka was telling you, well, I went to live golf because my family, I get more time off. And then a couple years later, it's like, well, I want to spend more time with my family. Stop the madness. You know exactly why you want to come back. You got your cake, you ate it, and now you want out. It looks like John Rahm doing the same thing, Joe.
So he was asked, Donnie, if I'm not mistaken, the minute the Koepka news came past, right? They asked him and Bryson DeChambeau, right? They asked these guys, hey, you planning on following suit? And their answer was pretty much like, no, we're under contract for live here. Everything is great. I mean, we're fine. Now, all of a sudden, you're like, oh, no, this is like we're rearranging the chairs on the Titanic here. Like, we got to anything and everything to try to get out of the contract now is what it sounds like to me. It sounds like Rahm doesn't want to spend any more time on the live tour. He wants to hurry up and get back to the PGA Tour here, which, by the way, careful what you wish for, because the only reason you're there was for the money to begin with.
Like, I understand, like, again, you can always come and say, hey, you know what, it's intriguing to go back to the PGA. I would like to do that here, but with Live Golf. But apparently they're taking that hardline stance to try to say, I'm unhappy at this point. But it would be one thing, Joe, it's like we signed up to play 10 tournaments. Now they raised it to 35 tournaments. I have to play 30 of them here. And it's weird, like, hours that we have to play and all over the world. This isn't what I signed up for. But when you hear about how much money he got to go to Live Golf, and he's like, they're trying to tell me I have to play in 2 tournaments here. It's like, stop it, man. Like, these are not like average person worries that they have. Sure, you'll get back to the PGA Tour, but just be honest. I'm not that happy here. I'd like to go back to the PGA Tour. It wasn't what I thought it was, and I guess I'll give back money and pay a fine to get back to the PGA Tour. We'll hear more about John Rahm here as the season goes around on Live. Jason Tatum, though, as we start our early lineup here, Joe, in hour number 2, he's looking to head back to the Celtics as early as Friday.
Listen, they have overachieved in many aspects, Donnie, and we had said if we got to this point in the season and they were not even remotely close, you know, they're playing for a play-in spot, let's say, we probably don't see Tatum until next season. But the fact that they are battling with a chance at maybe even being the best team in the Eastern Conference, well, if he's ready to go, and I just hope, you know, the organization isn't, oh, okay, Ted, you feel good? All right, come back. You know, sometimes you got to save the player from himself. So I'm hoping everything is a go here and we're not pushing him to get back to make a playoff run here this season.
David Montgomery started his NFL career with the Chicago Bears, went over to the Lions, was a great 1-2 punch with Jahmyr Gibbs, but now it looks like the solo competition is over in Detroit. Jahmyr Gibbs going to get a lot more of those carries, and David Montgomery's like, okay, that's fine. Send me to a place that wants me where I can get those carries. He's headed to the Texans, who thought they had a franchise back or a veteran back in Mixon, who got hurt and was never heard from again. We don't even know what really the injury was to his ankle, but David Montgomery's in town. I like this move for the Texans.
I do too. Like pass catching out of the backfield, Donnie, good goal line guy getting inside the red zone there. And yeah, they need all the help they can get, but they better figure out that offensive line though, because that was a bit of a problem last year.
Cleveland Browns, Joe, a mistake by the lake. New, ownership comes in after, I think the Lerners had it, and then it's flipped over to Haslam. It's been an absolute disaster. And ever since they came back into the league, the Cleveland Browns in the 1990s, they have been an epic disaster. But it looks like they're going to get a world-class facility. And part of the charm about Cleveland is it's going to be windy. It's probably going to be rainy. The sun never comes out, and it's bad weather once you get late in the season. I just wish, like, when we have these dome arenas, we know why they want the dome. It's not for the fans to be comfortable at this point. It's so that they can go, wait a second, we can't have any concerts in the winter because we're open air. Nobody can do that. They want the domes because they want to get maybe a Final Four in town. They want to get the concerts to roll through there. Joe, I wouldn't mind these dome stadiums here with retractable roofs as long as they said when a football game is played, no matter what, Joe, the roof is open. Make all your money outside of football season, but the roof must be open during football season.
I agree with you, Donnie. I mean, the dog pound in air-conditioned, climate-controlled, it just doesn't ring well here for me. And it used to be, even though they were terrible, that was still a pretty good home field advantage, right? But now Yeah, not so much here. Don't know. I wish they would keep it open, Donnie, but they're likely not going to be doing that.
No, they never do. It doesn't make any sense. Like, hey, we got a retractable roof. Why isn't that roof ever open? Just too lazy to open it at this point. Stop it here. The ATP World Tour, multiple players, Joe, are stuck in the Middle East due to what's going on here. Tough scene.
Yeah, no, and F1 too having issues. The airspace obviously not necessarily open, which is causing all sorts of flight delays and everything else. So hopefully all of this gets worked out sooner rather than later for them.
The Florida swing is taking place right now on the PGA Tour, which leads right up to the Masters, but the PGA expands their media deal with NBC through 2033. Business must be good, Joe, for the PGA.
Well, and we talked about it when you got guys like John Rahm being like, get me out of here. We know DeChambeau, by the way, his contract is coming up. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, they're all coming back, it sounds like, to the PGA Tour, which if I'm NBC, lock it in now. That's for sure.
How about this? We talked about Jason Tatum to open up the segment here. Now Trae Young coming back to the NBA. Superstars apparently want to play, or some superstars like Tatum say, hey, Jaylen Brown, I'm still the superstar here. And also from a Wizards perspective, maybe their ownership's like, Trae, you better get out there because we're not paying any more fines.
The biggest contribution Trae Young has brought to the table is getting thrown out of the game that he wasn't playing last night. And now we're all celebrating him. That's the Wizards in a nutshell right there.
McLaren going to make the sleekest golf clubs you've ever seen with some great looking polos and also golf bags, Joe. Quick, what do you think?
Yeah. It comes with the car. All you got to do is buy the car.
That's it. Give me the keys, baby. Give me the keys. We'll be right back. Michigan at a 57% chance right now, followed by Arizona, Duke, and Houston. Here's the interesting caveat, Joe, for Michigan, who's the favorite right now. On February the 8th at 5 a.m., they were trading at 40%. Today, 57%. People like themselves some Michigan here.
Well, Donnie, exactly, because Michigan, it just vaulted themselves to number one in the AP poll.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
I have my own account. I don't need to have any. He didn't say any of that. So I'm of the belief that if someone accuses you of something and you don't deny it, there's a reason you didn't deny it. Because you kind of feel like they got me. And yes, I'm not going to tell you I did it, but I did it. Yeah. Don't you think so?
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, and with the Clippers, Craig, it feels like Kawhi is on an island. We saw him ball out in the All-Star game the other day. Kawhi was very impressive, and he's had a fantastic season. I think when you look at the Clippers, if the Clippers record was better, but he's still at James Harden, you would be talking about Kawhi as an MVP candidate. He's been one of the best players in the league in terms of how he's been playing. He's been fantastic.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
The NFL is 365, 24/7. We just wrapped up the Combine. Then also today, did you know, is the last day that you can apply that franchise tag. Then you move towards free agency and into the NFL draft, to OTAs, into training camp, into the regular season. Joe, we love it. It's already March. It feels like football just got done. And you say, wait a second, draft's coming up. And then all of a sudden the weather starts to change. And we see guys out there in shirts and T-shirts and, running around on football fields and getting used to those players. But how about this, Joe? In just a few years, could it be Polymarket Football with a tweet? There is concern around the NFL that AI could soon start eliminating coach and scouting jobs. Is there any reason, Joe, why they made the cyborg right there in a Cleveland Browns hat and shirt? Come on now.
I can't do any worse. I mean, my goodness.
Yeah.
It's maybe they could have used a cyborg a couple of years ago here. Maybe AI will help them actually draft the right quarterback. Maybe that's what they're hoping for there. But listen, it's bound to creep in at some point from an analytics standpoint, Donnie. I would imagine that their AI will play a big role in figuring out how to break down the mountains of data that you can go through for sure.
Can imagine AI coaches. By the way, Jimmy Haslam is the same guy that multiple times pays an outside service to help him with coaching staffs and also draft picks and overrides them all of the time. It's fantastic, man. Like, I love the fact that Polymarket put the Cleveland hat and the Cleveland hoodie on this AI coach because that makes the most sense. Oh, you know what? We're going to save some time to get an AI play caller in here. Good luck with that, people. And by the way, Joe, you talked about this topic already on the show. The Mississippi House has passed a bill that would exclude athletes' NIL earnings from the state's income tax, which means come here, play football, get your money. We are not taking anything there. And by the way, the SEC is the ultimate copycat league. You tell me right now, Alabama, Florida, Georgia, this thing passes in Mississippi, all of those states are going to pass it as well. It's wild.
Yeah, and I really want to hear the explanation as to how the law enforcement, firefighters, teachers, you guys still get to be taxed, though, through the nose. However, this is just for 18 to 23-year-olds who are making 6 to 7 figures. No, to come to school and play here, they get no state income tax. Unbelievable, Donnie.
It's funny, like let's just call it like the state of Florida. Like, hey, you go play for Miami, get a big signing bonus. You're going to keep a lot more of that than California and New York per se, or maybe New Jersey. Players don't even care about that at this point right now because otherwise Miami would have every single good player on that. It's amazing, but it is one of those caveats like, hey, we're going to give you $1 million. That means $1 million. We're not going to give you $1 million, which means $750,000 once the state takes their cut. It'll be interesting to see. But as I said, the SEC is so cutthroat that they will just lock up their legislation to say, now we can't. You see Lane Kiffin out here in Louisiana? Yep. Wait a second. Now I can't recruit against this. You better pass this. And they will go right to Senate, have an emergency overnight meeting, Joe, and make sure that all is level as a playing field for the state of Louisiana as well, along with Mississippi here. Crazy times. Sports Business Journal here. Some Indiana residents are not thrilled about the new taxes tied to the potential Bears stadium in Hammond. I got a clue for you, Indiana. You're never getting the Bears anyway, but it is kind of funny. It's like, hey, wait a second. My taxes went up because we built the Bears a new stadium?
Yeah, I mean, again, the Bears played it like puppets across the board. Played Illinois, got Indiana to get all excited, and then before anybody, all of a sudden, Indiana's now going, wait a minute. I mean, yes, we get the bit, but wait a minute. How much money are we going to have to pay? But it already served its purpose because the leverage has been taken, and now the Bears will get exactly what they want in Illinois.
And by the way, the thing I always love about this, too, is because it's spread out statewide. But let's just call it like Las Vegas. Like, people are pissed off. Like, Las Vegas used to be affordable. They wanted you to come. They wanted you to gamble. Cheap rates for the rooms here. Comped stuff like meals and all that good stuff. And even if you weren't comped, though, I go to a really good buffet for $19.99, get prime rib lobster tail. That was Vegas. And all of a sudden, Vegas starts, saying, all right, increase the taxes. Sports teams are coming here. And that's where you go like, hey, this $99 room a night is awesome. Why is it $246 when I check out? Admission fees here, hotel tax, overnight tax, state gambling tax. That's where it goes to. So you must say, hey, we're not going to hit you publicly here with this, but when you start to spend money, now you're going to see like, wait a second, I just wanted to eat at a steak dinner. There's a 5% excess tax on top of this because a new stadium is coming to town. Get ready.
It's coming, Donnie. I mean, across the board here. You want this team? They dangle that carrot, right? Get you all excited, like, yes, we want the Bear. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, by the way, here's the bill. Now, you don't want it anymore. But you know what? Got the Bears exactly what they needed to get exactly what they want anyway.
Joe, I was a season ticket holder for close to 20 years with the Philadelphia Eagles. It served the purpose in my life. I was younger. It was fantastic. There's no better place I wanted to be at Lincoln Financial Field on a Sunday afternoon, getting down there early. But also, there comes a price point. When you start to get older, go, wait a second. I can have a 65-inch HD television here, all the food I want in the bathroom next door, and I don't have to get down there at 6 a.m.? I said, Donnie, why are you bringing this up? Every single team, every single year, Joe, raises their season ticket prices. When is the breaking point? Because if you watch this SportsGrid network, Joe has one of those videos going around that's like, when the breaking point's going to be? When the fans stop showing up.
And that's it. I mean, ultimately, the power is in the consumer, Donnie. We say it all the time, right? But at one point, the consumer's got to stand up and draw that line in the stand and be like, no, I am done here. And right now, there are teams and organizations getting away with craziness because the consumer, all they do is, they moan about it, but they don't do anything about it.
Nope. And how about the New York Giants? They should be moaning and groaning. They had Saquon Barkley, let them go to the Eagles, who had the best single season of running back history that equated into a Super Bowl. So now the Giants are saying, all right, we need a running back. Let's go pay big money for Kenneth Walker. Don't repeat the same mistake. Hey, Giants, build your offensive line first before you go pay a running back top dollar. How about that?
Yeah, now again, leverage, and Kenneth Walker is going to have a ton of it. Somebody is going to give him the money. The question is, and why is Joe Schoen even allowed to be able to make a decision like that anymore? Like, can't Harbaugh step in and be like, enough is enough? Like, no more?
Nobody knows. Nobody knows here, Joe. By the way, I'm going to ask you this question. By the end of Sunday this week, will Max Crosby be traded? Because it looks like Albert Breer is saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. Cowboys, Eagles, and Patriots.
Well, you heard Jimmy say, right? He wants to go out and spend some money this free agency. Well, go get him.
You want to spend some money with us next? Here comes Bye, Bye, Bye. Michigan at a 57% chance right now, followed by Arizona, Duke, and Houston. Here's the interesting caveat, Joe, for Michigan, who's the favorite right now. On February the 8th at 5 a.m., they were trading at 40%. Today, 57%. People like themselves some Michigan here.
Well, Donnie, exactly, because Michigan, it just vaulted themselves to number one in the AP poll.
Prediction Markets Edge. Only on SportsGrid.
How much do you think tanking is hurting the NBA right now, too? And what we're seeing, like we saw with that Jazz and Orlando game a week ago, how much do you think that's hurting the game?
I can't wait until professional sports in the United States adopts a European model, especially like a Premier League model, and they start doing relegation. The day you start doing relegation, everything changes. Everything will change.
Outspoken with Dan Cilio. Only on SportsGrid.
I have my own account. I don't need to have any. He didn't say any of that. So I'm of the belief that if someone accuses you of something and you don't deny it, there's a reason you didn't deny it. Because you kind of feel like they got me. And yes, I'm not going to tell you I did it, but I did it. Yeah. Don't you think so?
The Craig Carton Show. Only on SportsGrid.
Yeah, and with the Clippers, Craig, it feels like Kawhi is on an island. We saw him ball out in the All-Star game the other day. Kawhi was very impressive, and he's had a fantastic season. I think when you look at the Clippers, if the Clippers' record was better, but he's still James Harden, you would be talking about Kawhi as an MVP candidate. He's been one of the best players in the league in terms of how he's been playing. He's been fantastic.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Good times at by Hall on the early line for a Tuesday show. It's Donnie right side and Joe Ranieri. In this segment, we're going to give you some best bets here. We're going to check in with the public here to see where they're going and also other hot topics that might come up, Joe, which includes the World Baseball Classic. Let me get your energy level, Joe. You know, you get to the stadiums like, hey, the decibels are going higher and higher. What's your energy level for the WBC getting underway this week?
I'm actually more curious than anything else here, Donnie, because I think it'll be a great. Listen, nobody's going to watch spring training, right? So this at least gives you a little appetizer into what is about to come in a 162-game Major League Baseball season. So, yeah, I'm all for it because you and I both know there are some teams in this tournament that absolutely want to win. So, gotta love urgency this early in baseball.
And by the way, we just talked about the Patriots raising season ticket prices here. I hear from a lot of Phillies fans who make a trip down to Clearwater every couple years. Ticket prices at spring training games rivaling or even more than regular season prices, which would, like, they know they got, like, you're coming down here where you're not going to go to a game at this point. Well, wait, I can go see the Boston Red Sox when they come to town against the Phillies and pay $75 a ticket. And I'm paying $105 for maybe seeing Bryce Harper show up in the dugout here. Crazy times in Major League Baseball, Joe. But at this time, we want to reach out to see what the public's digging on here. So fade the public poll. National pride is at stake right now, but also, Joe, the price points might sway people's public opinion here. At SportsGrid, we asked the question this morning, who do you think is winning the WBC? And if we go live right now, USA minus 115 price point, 42.9% up from the graphic that you see now. The DR plus 460 coming in at second place at 31.4% here. So it feels like the DR plus 460, that's the Dominican Republic, getting a lot of cash here at a good price point, Joe.
I think it's a great price point, right, Donnie? And let's face it, a lot of people think maybe a dark horse altogether here. It's not like they don't have the firepower on that team to get it done. I mean, look at that. Everyone has said it's a three-team race, right? That's basically what it is, but you still got to go out there and get it done. And ultimately, it's going to come down to pitching. That would be my only question mark with them.
You know what? It's a great question mark you bring up too, Joe, because if you look at the rosters, Team USA is the best roster, but it is all about pitching. And you say, well, if I'm only going to get 2 or 3 innings out of starters and my best starter is going to be used in the, pool play, that leaves it up in the air. We're saying, like, wait a second, this other kid's throwing gas and we have our 5th or 6th starter on the mound as Team USA. So it could be some money to be made in those knockout stages here, Joe. And talking about money to be made, I didn't make any last night. I had the Bucks last night. I had CLV to the moon, and they got hammered. Let's try again tonight here. Bye. Tell me, Joe, where do we go tonight? Best bets on deck. You are up first. Let's get it.
Well, let's go to college basketball here tonight as UNC Wilmington just came out of senior night, by the way, with an opportunity to lock up that number 1 seed in the regular season title there in the CAA. And what did they do? Well, they were up 15 in the first half against their rival Charleston. Yeah, they ended up losing by 3 in the second half and a very disappointed home crowd. So now they have to beat Elon here tonight to lock it up. Otherwise, they're going to leave the door wide open for Charleston. And all of a sudden, that coveted number 1 seed out of reach for them. I don't think that happens. They destroyed Elon the first go-around this season. Elon scored only 54 points against him in that first one there. Defensively, I like the Seahawks. I think they get it done. A big bounce-back spot. It's only 5, Donnie, 5.5. I think it's a double-digit win and a lock up that number 1 seed for UNC Wilmington.
Joe, talking about Elon, not Elon Musk, people. Elon, the college here. We'll see if that plays out tonight. Minus 5.5 for UNC Wilmington. For me, I'm going back to the NBA. And sometimes, boy, these games I look at are going to be tough for the pill to swallow. 78% of the tickets coming in on OKC, Joe, in this game. But that line opened up overnight, minus 11. It's down to 10.5 now in a total of 227.5, which means, Joe, 22% of the tickets coming in on the Bulls who basically aren't even trying to win. I took Milwaukee last night and got my head caved in with great CLV. We'll see where this line ends up at the end of the day, but come on, Chicago. Hang around within double digits. Lose by 10, Let's get the chicken tonight. As I like to say, Joe, nobody wants to take the Chicago Bulls tonight. It's your boy DRS. He's taking those Chicago Bulls tonight.
Not a shock there, Donnie. You're always looking on the board to go where everyone is running left. Donnie is going to run right.
To the right side, baby, which means to the prediction markets next. Stay tuned. We got a lot of good topics coming your way.